videos out of sequence. So my numbers have changed a bit. Some of them look very similar. That's why. So I know people find one video and take a look at it, or they find me just on the chance. So here we go. Current blood sugar sitting at 9.1. I have 5.125 units of insulin left over for breakfast. I was high last night, came down, and stayed pretty consistent last night. Early morning, dropped down, went low, and then had breakfast and it came back up. Time in range, this really hasn't changed. 57%, 43% above, which we're going to work on today. 57% time in range. Now, we usually like to see 70, but that'll do. This number here I like below 10 at least, so we're sitting at 9.6. I still think we can do a bit better. My doctor likes me between 8 and 12. Personally, I like below 10, 8 to 10. That's a little kind of a thin line on what we need to be, but that's something I personally like. Today's video, we're going to discuss episode 2 of the biggest mistake I ever made. So, sit back and I'll pick and choose throughout my time. But it's all good. So, my biggest mistake, part 2. We'll be right back. Years ago, when I was working in an office situation, let's just call it that, I was in a meeting, and this meeting was how to implement health and safety into the building, and how we called for help as required. And so we had lunch. During lunch was when my biggest mistake happened. They had pork. It was sort of like a rib dish. I always look forward to these and would always take a few. But this day, I didn't have any rice, didn't have any carbs. I just had this meat. And I took and I ate it. It was good. And after lunch, I was really, I was sitting at my desk. It was kind of the break in the day. And I kept going, oh, looking at my bracelet. Yes, look at my bracelet. Oh, it slid down. And my coworker finally suggested, huh, I think we need to call an ambulance. I I said, no, no, I'm fine. You know, as diabetics, we are our worst enemies sometimes. And I kept going, no, no, I'm fine. Needless to say, I was this close to passing totally out. But I did not. But they still called an ambulance. And we had come up with this whole elaborate thing just in the morning of how it would go down, what people would do. The first chance they had to implement it, they did not do it. They just called an ambulance, somebody waited down, flagged them in. They came to my office. They started an IV, gave me the magical little shot. Now, for those of you who are a type 1 diabetic, know glucagon can save lives, but this time I was still 90s. It was a shot of D50, and that was directly, it was a big tube with the syringe needle. They put it into my IV, and all of a sudden I started to perk up. It was kind of like, well, why are you guys all here? I was that close. And I said, no, I don't need to go to the hospital. I knew why it happened, but I kept trying to play it down. And I think this really annoys non-diabetics. Well, why aren't you more upset that you're low? And it's because things like this happen to us. It's, well, if you were under tighter control, everyone seems to think that's the magical response. Well, you have to get under tighter control. Some of us try. That day was my mistake. And I had to use emergency services to come out. They disconnected the IV. My blood sugar was back to normal. At the end of the day, I left. But a worker said, oh, are you ready to go? And I said, yes. My blood sugars were 14, 15 at this point. When the problem is with D50, your blood sugar just goes up. Now it's glucagon they use quite a bit, but D50, oh, that was great. Because it just cleared you up like that, and you were. But next day, I got driven home. The boss said, nope, you're driving you home. Okay. Next day, I'm ready to go. I have class, a training class I had to present at one of our stores. So I was raring to go. I got dressed, I showered, I got ready to go. I was feeling fine. And I'm walking up to the bus stop, and I get a call from our secretary saying, "How are you today?" I said, "I'm fine. Do we need to send someone to take your class?" I said, "No, I'm fine with doing the class." "Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure." And I did the class and we went on. But that was also the time where I was really starting to take care of myself better. Um, I didn't give too much insulin. I didn't eat properly, but I didn't give too much insulin. I learned that when I was injecting, that I had to have proper meals. I knew this up here, but implementing it, I was starting to take care of myself, but things hadn't fully kicked in yet. And so that was where it kind of snapped. I said, "Oh, okay." So even to today, I don't know where it is right now. Probably back here. There it is. With my pump, as soon as I give insulin, because I'm eating, I eat. It sounds so simplistic. It's the thought is drilled into us, except that day I just wasn't feeling it. Thinking back on the time to present this story, I think I was probably low before lunch, and I just had these pork chops or ribs or whatever they were, and that's all I had. So be sensible. If you're one of those diabetics who was like me and I take my insulin and blah blah, yeah, things are fine, grow up. And I honestly think if somebody had said that to me earlier on, when I wasn't going to go see doctors, I wasn't doing everything I should be, I probably wouldn't have ended up in this circumstances. So take care, learn from my mistakes so you don't repeat. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now. My email address is Mike's Diabetes World at gmail.com. All one line. Drop me